So I'm starting the video right here. We are doing a review. This is a review for the cumulative test, and today we're talking about the probability part A. And one of the hardest questions was, you make a tree diagram like this, and a ton of people stop right where I stopped. Because they're like, that feels like you're done with the whole chart, but you're not. And that's exactly why the hard questions then become really hard for them, because they don't have the chart finished. So here, let me show you how to professionally finish this. You don't just do 0.6 times 0.6 times 0.6. You do that, but you also, what is 0.6 to the power of 3? You put that in the 0.216, but then you after it, or before it, I like after it you write heads, heads, heads. Because that route was, apparently I can't write an H. So that route was, first you got heads, then you got heads, then you got heads again. All right, I'd like you to finish this thing. So go all the way through and get all of the right answers for all 8 of these. This is a typical test question, and then the hard part is really making the chart. Because after this, if you really make the chart well, then the questions are not that bad. All right. What is 0.6 times 0.6 times 0.4?
0.6 times 0.6 times 0.4 is 0.144.
And that's going to come up a lot because 2 0.6s and 1.4 is going to come up over and over. Excuse me. What is 0.4 times 0.4 times 0.6?
0.4 times 0.4 times 0.6 is 0.096.
I'm going to pause for a sec. All right, we got our final numbers on the really carefully made chart. If you make your tree this carefully, then I can almost bet you're going to get all the questions about it right. And this was the problem. I'm telling you, I graded a ton of these tests. If anybody made a mistake, it was on this kind of question. Okay, so what is now a hard question about this? Well, the easy question would be like, what's the probability of heads, heads, tails? Well, it's just right there. We're not going to do one that easy, right? What we're going to probably say is, given the middle coin flip, you were able to like see it out of the corner of your eye as they flipped it, that they got a tails on the middle one. But you don't know what happened at the beginning or the end, but you saw the middle one was tails. So given, as soon as I said given, what changes? The denominator. You're going to have to divide by something different. And you might be like, we don't divide these by anything. No, really what you should be dividing by is everything was possible. You'd be dividing by 1. But now not all of these are possible because given the middle flip was, did I say heads or tails? Tails. Given the middle flip was tails, now what's the probability that it was heads, tails, tails? Given the middle one was tails, now that tells you all the possibles. As soon as I said given, I'm telling you what was possible, and you put those all together and put them on the bottom. A lot of you got this wrong the first time. Trying to help you understand this well enough to get it right. I'm trying. All right, so I got to look through and try to find which of these have a middle one that was tails. And then I find all of them, and then I add them all up. This one had a middle one that was tails. This one had a middle one that was tails. This one had a middle one that was tails. And that one had a middle one that was tails. I'm going to add them all together and put them on the bottom. What is 0.144 plus 0.096 plus 0.096 plus 0.064?
0.144 plus 0.096 plus 0.096 plus 0.064 is 0.4.
And if you thought it through, you might have been able to figure out that all of them had that in common, and that probability was 0.4 on the middle one. But I don't want you to think that you just grab a number off the chart and divide by it, because you'll probably pick the wrong number. All right, and now, what did I want? I wanted heads, tails, tails. There's only one of those. The thing I want was right here. On that one was 0.144. Who divided those two? Raise your hand if you did. All right. Is there something? Did I do that wrong? Heads, tails, tails. No, I did. 0.096 is the one. I'm so sorry. I grabbed the one above it by accident. I see why a lot of people weren't raising their hand. This one is the one we wanted. Heads, tails, tails is this one. And that was 0.096. I apologize. I wasn't trying to trick you. There we go. Now, who was dividing the right one now? That's a lot more kids. Okay, good. Some of you fell into the trap because you listened to me. I'm having a little bit of an off day. I woke up this morning with a really bad back, and I'm just kind of working through it. So, all right. So anyway, 0.096 divided by 0.4 is some decimal. Let's actually get see what that is. What is 0.096 divided by 0.4?
0.096 divided by 0.4 is 0.24.
There you go. Okay, so there's a 24% chance of that. All right, so that's a given kind. There's another kind that's hard on these, and that's the at least kind. Okay, do you get if I said you got at least one heads? Then that means you could have got 1 or 2 or 3 heads. Okay, so which one of these have at least 1 heads? Well, you'll realize that almost all of them have at least 1 heads. Do you really want to have to add up all of those? So, figure out the smart way to answer that. What's the probability of at least 1 heads? Well, all of these, or 1 minus that one. How many of you figured out what I was talking about? Okay, good. All right, you have any questions about those, which are the hardest kind? My last tips, unless you have questions, is if you make these, then these questions aren't that hard. But you have to make the whole chart carefully, and there's a lot of chances to mess that up. You think about all the calculations in there, a typical high school kid is not that careful, and they oftentimes will make a dumb mistake in the chart. That'll get them. For other kids, it's just not knowing exactly what to do, but we just talked about given and at least, which are the two hardest parts. All right, then we're gonna do one more thing to prepare for this test, which is there was a whole ton of questions on triple Venn diagrams. So let's put one of those up. You do not need to copy this triple Venn. You just need to understand it and answer the questions about it. So this is gonna be peas. Let's say somebody's gonna make you eat a vegetable. I wanna get some alternatives to peas. Who would actually nominate a vegetable that you actually don't mind? Just say a vegetable, please. Just say it out loud. Louder, I heard somebody say something. Oh, come on. All right, fine. I'll make you. Hope, tell me a vegetable that you'll consider eating. Oh, I said, nope, I got a person's name confused with somebody else. I'm gonna go with Asher. Tell me something a vegetable you could live with. Broccoli. I actually am a broccoli fan myself. There was a president who actually hated broccoli so much he said it on TV, and then all the broccoli growers of America were pissed. Anyway, I think that was the old George Bush. All right, so give me a last vegetable, Mr. Breen. Carrots. Then we're gonna put numbers 1, 2, 3. I think maybe like one person here, 2 people, 4 people. I think a lot of people like carrots. I'm gonna put a number on the outside that makes it add up to something nice. 2 out there. Okay, now it adds up to 20, I'm pretty sure. All right, so this is more complicated than you would think because you also had these symbols that you had to know. Like, for instance, if I say probability of broccoli U carrots, you got to know what that means. Take a second. Try to figure out if that means a big answer or a small answer, which usually means, is it and or? Please talk to the kid next to you about what that one means. And therefore, what's the answer going to be? If it's an or, I heard a lot of words. All right, and I tried to make it add up to 20, but again, I'm having a bit of a rough day. Did I actually make it add up to 20? Did anybody verify it was 20? All right, good. Some people are checking it, and it was 20. And then B-U-C, U is an or. I like to think of it as you could put a little O here and a little R there. And that's, or is a big answer. So it's pretty much all of these except not the 1 and the 2. So that means it would be 17 things, wouldn't it? Pretty sure. All right, good. Now, that is a pretty easy one because it was just an or. Now, that is possible on the test, but here's definitely a step up. Given peas, now what's the probability of carrots not? Remember that little dash thing means not? Technically means complement of, but it also means not. Given peas, probability of not carrots. When I hear given, I immediately think, oh, he's telling me the denominator. Peas was not just this one here, of course. Peas was the 1 and the 4 and the 3 and the 2. That's 10 things. Those 10 things are possible. But when you pull out not carrots from, I'm going to circle this because it makes it easier. I can only pick those. From those 4 numbers, which are the not carrots? The 1 and the 2. That one and that one. Who had 3 out of 10? All right, awesome. Okay, I think that's the basics. Now, I want to give you a time, and I also want to have your old test back. So then I better stop about here. So if you have more questions about probability part A, you'll maybe notice it when you're in the review, and I'll tell you which problems you should do today off the review sheet, because it's one review sheet for the next 2 days. And so here's the ones that pertain to what we just talked about. For today, you should do problems 5, 6, 9, and 10. I'll write them on the board here. Now, just to clarify, don't cross off the other ones. Those are your assignment for tomorrow. But for tonight, you should do 5, 6, 9, and 10, because those are the ones we just talked about. And when I hand your test back to you in a minute, the number one priority for the next half hour actually should be to try to figure out what you did wrong there. Because if you can do your corrections today on that, then you're all caught up to the right spot. Okay, so hopefully you can get those corrections done today. If not, you may take your corrections paper home with you, but you can't take your original test home with you. All right, that's all I got for the video for today.